beside the fact that, we already learned that most are coming from our DNA or from our parents, grandparents, the past has lingered in our system.
Right.
What else can you add up to this so that most people will be aware of what's going on with their limiting beliefs?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of it doesn't even come from our parents. When we're really young, we tend to absorb everything that we see, hear, and feel from our parents and even our extended family. And then by the time you get to about 7 years old or 8 years old, we start modeling different people. We start modeling our heroes. And I can remember, like, when I was a kid, all the heroes were based in justice and truth and honor. And we had the Justice League and Superman and, all these people. Well, by the time that I was starting to become a teenager, moving out of those years, all the heroes had changed. It was interesting. They were now like, Hulk Hogan and Rowdy Piper and all these guys that were beating each other over the heads with chairs and, the values. And you can see that actual value shift in that generation coming up. Well, by the time that they get into 14 years old, they're now moving into another stage, which is the socialization stage. And this is why it's so important, if you're a parent, for you to really pay attention to who your kids are hanging out with, because they're not just spending time with those kids, they're literally adopting values and mindsets and worldviews based on the people that they're spending time with. And those will be carried with them for the rest of their life unless they do something about it.
So what you're trying to say is they also get it from their environment.
Yeah, definitely.
So aside from getting it from their parents, even before they were born or after they were born during the formative years, then comes a time when they get it from the environment and it stays.
Right. And at that point, by the time you get a kid who's 14, 15, 16 years old, it's virtually, not entirely, but virtually impossible for the parent to have much influence over them.
Yes.
You have to lay the groundwork early. So all of those things come from the past. We have all those values that are laid in. We have all of your memories that you've ever had, the ones that you're conscious of and the ones you're not conscious of. You'll have either positive or negative emotions on those. And then on top of that, you have all the decisions that you've ever made in your life. For instance, if you think of a person who's been in a bunch of bad relationships, they might have made a decision, there's nobody good out there. And that decision will affect their behavior from that point on. They won't date anybody. And so maybe the love of their life could float into their life and float out, and they would never know it because they'd made a decision to never allow that again.
Yes.
So all of those decisions are in, and those are all the waves from the past that come forward. But then there's also another wave, which is interesting, which is that your unconscious mind thinks it knows everything that's coming in your future.
Yes.
If I were to ask you, Nellie, what are you doing next Saturday? You would think of what you're doing next Saturday, and you already in your mind have pictures, sounds, videos, feelings in your mind of what's going to happen as if you had experienced it. And I call those future memories. And I'm not saying that we are psychic, but your unconscious mind thinks it knows what's coming, and so it's always moving you in that path toward what it thinks is out there. Your unconscious mind thinks it knows what's going to happen to you 20 years from now. And it's taking steps right now to move you there. And most people have never actually explored what does my unconscious mind think is coming in 20 years. I hope it's something I like.
And because we're not that connected with the subconscious, and we always think consciously every day, and you also told us during that event that, everything, when we are overwhelmed with information as well as events in our lives, they just get stuck in the unconscious.
Right.
And without you thinking that it's going to affect your future or your now, it's it piles up, it builds up.
So there's two waves that come in. There's one wave that comes forward from the past. All your past memories influence you, and then everything you think is going to happen in the future comes back and creates the moment that you're in right now. And this is why most people feel so helpless in life, because what you do now doesn't change now. It can change the future, but most people don't have the tools to do that. And so that's really what I teach people. I teach people how to let go of everything from the past that's ever held you back, including negative emotions and traumas and limiting beliefs and limiting decisions. And I also teach you how to program your future at the subconscious level, so that if you want, 10 years from now, if you want to be a millionaire with a Lamborghini and the love of your life and a happy family and healthy and connected spiritually, if you want all that stuff, you can literally put that in at the subconscious level, so your unconscious mind is always moving you toward that new goal.
Thank you for sharing with us, Michael. Because right now, what I would like to tell our audience here is, we come from different cultures. We come from different directions in life. Most of us have our Christian faith, our belief systems. Okay, most of us also have our different traditions. And here, Michael Stevenson is introducing to us a different way of approaching it, whatever works for you. So the Lanel Connection would like to bring to you a lot of options out there and a lot of empowering programs that you can use in your lives. And for one, I have personally experienced Michael Stevenson's Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP, the EFT techniques, the time techniques, and everything that he offers during his The Power to Create Your Life Now event. And he is going to have one this January, and I want him to invite you personally for that event.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's called The Power to Create Your Life Now, and in this event what I do is I'm going to teach you the techniques to eliminate everything that's held you back from the past, to really enjoy the present, and to create the future of your dreams. And this is a 3-day event. A lot of people say, well, why is it 3 days? Why couldn't you do 2 days and this and that? And my answer to you is, listen, do you want to come to a weekend event where you're going to be teased and you're going to, into another event and now you have to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Or do you want to come to an event where I give you everything that I can possibly give you to help you enjoy your life?
Right.
And that's what my goal. I know you go to a lot of other motivational speakers, they just tease you. They give you little teasers and they give you just enough to want to go to the next event. And I don't believe in that model. So it is a 3-day event, it's a full event, and I guarantee you will walk out in control of your life, in control of your mind, feeling better than you've ever felt in a long time. We've had people who've walked out with emotional situations completely resolved. We've had people walk out that had traumas in their past that when they walk out they feel clean and clear of it. We had, in the last event, we had a woman who came in who was basically an invalid. She had to walk with 2 canes. She could only walk about 2 miles per hour. I mean, just crept along. She did a process on Friday night that she said was one of the most empowering, incredible things that she ever did. We do a forgiveness process. And she forgave some key people in her life, and within 3 days of that was walking around at full speed. She was grocery shopping, which she said she hadn't been grocery shopping in years. She had somebody else always do it for her. She did her own laundry. All of these things that she hadn't done in years, by releasing the emotional part that was blocking her body from being well, all of a sudden her body healed itself. And so we've had people go through emotional things, mental things, physical things, relationships be fixed. It's an amazing event.
Yes, I can attest to that, ladies and gentlemen. I told you, I came from an Asian background, Eastern. A lot of limiting beliefs there, but there's also a lot of strengthening beliefs there. It's a combination, but it's just going to be your choice, your decision of how you want to move forward, how you want to really bring transformation. This is not just motivation, Michael. This is transformation.
Yeah, one of the things I say to people is this is not a motivational event. Motivation wears off 3 or 4 days after you leave the event, and that's why you see people go back to the same event over and over and over again, because it becomes like a high, and they say, I have to go back to that event, otherwise they can't feel that good again. This is not like that. This is an empowerment event, and I'm actually going to teach you the secret tools that motivational speakers usually keep to themselves.
So give us the 5 tips, though, how our audience can keep up with something transformational, even if they haven't attended the event yet. So while they're sitting back and relaxing in the comfort of their own homes, maybe they can use these tips, which you actually had us do.
There's actually 6 tips, so I'm going to give
6
you a
tips?
bonus.
All right, okay. 5 tips plus 1 bonus.
Right. So these are what I call the 6 principles for success. These are, if you look at every success story in history, they've all used these 6 principles. You could look at Thomas Edison, Walt Disney, Donald Trump, Bill Gates, anybody that you can think of that's successful have used these 6 key things in order. The first thing is, if you want to be successful at anything, you have to know what your outcome is. You have to know your end result before you get started, otherwise you don't know which directions to take. One of the biggest things, because I'm also a success coach, and I coach a lot of people who are struggling and they're stuck. And one of the biggest reasons why people are stuck in life is usually because they don't know what they want. And they're spinning their wheels, and there was this great quote I heard once that said, don't confuse movement with progress.
Right.
Okay, movement, doing things in your life doesn't necessarily mean you're making progress. Progress means you're making progress. So you have to know where you want to end up. What's the outcome? Second thing, this is a big one. This is the secret behind the secret. Okay, so the big movie, The Secret, that makes everybody feel good, but nobody ever ends up a millionaire.
Yes.
This is the big secret behind the secret. The second one is take action.
Yes.
You cannot just sit in a box and hope that $1 million will land in your lap and expect it'll come there. You have to actually go out and do things in addition to that focus of your mind. And so take action, but don't just take a little action, take a huge action. Take a big step out of your comfort zone. Third thing you have to do is pay attention to your results. All the results, not just the positive ones. Most people, and I see a lot of business owners do this, they go, look at all the money I'm making, and they're ignoring all the money they're losing by overspending or not managing their money well.
Right.
And they focus only on the one result and ignore the other. You have to pay attention to both the positive results and the negative results so that you know how to adjust. And that's the fourth principle, which is be willing to change your behavior. You know, the definition of insanity, according to Einstein, was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Oh my God, am I close to that? I hope not. You too, guys.
So if you're spinning your wheels in life and you're not getting the result you want, the only logical choice is to change your behavior. Change what you're doing. And there's times when, you know, I'll have coaching clients will say, but I don't know what to do different. And I'll say, do everything. Just change anything. Change one little thing and see what happens. And then keep measuring and keep going.
Right.
The fifth principle is to always focus on excellence. There's a great quote I love from Tony Robbins. He says, most people think that perfection is the highest standard you can achieve. He said, in fact, it's the lowest standard because it's not achievable and it prevents most people from taking action in the first place.
Wow.
Perfection, think about that. Perfection is the lowest standard possible. And if people could just get that in their mind, they would forget about perfection.
Yes.
Because most people say, well, I'm not going to do it until it's perfect.
Well,
And then they spend their whole lives wishing, and then they end up with regrets at the end of their life. Instead, focus on excellence. Excellence is something that everybody can achieve because excellence is relative to you. And that's a frame and a mindset that anybody can achieve. A 12-year-old can be an excellent 12-year-old basketball player. And an NBA player can be an excellent NBA player. But they can both be excellent in their own right and in their own sphere. But nobody can be a perfect player. Even Michael Jordan missed shots. The sixth principle, and I think probably the most powerful one, is to always be coming from a place of gratitude.
yes.
Always focus on gratitude in everything that you do. And at every moment along the way, even if you're not satisfied with your results, stop and find something to be grateful for in the results that you've gotten. If they're not the results that you want, at the very least, they can be a lesson. And I'm always grateful for lessons.
Excellent, excellent.
Reach in your heart, feel a little gratitude. Together we can change the tide with you. Together we can change the world.